the NWF Champion Ace.
Pitts has called the match. For some strange reason, he's giving the victory to Kid Kelsey.
Mr. X declared the new champion.
The new champion, Mr. X.
He's won the title back. Get it back. Bring him down. Dr. Crossen, your new champion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Wrestling Revolution Keaton, and we have a great guest coming in. We are limited on time, so we're not going to do too much formalities here. We're going to bring him right on in. So are you ready, Keaton, for our guest? I'll let you introduce him as I bring him in for us here.
Let's introduce Drew Onyx.
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
Hey,
great. Welcome in.
Great to meet you there. So yes, Wrestling Revolution Keaton. And Keaton, I'm going to let you cut loose because I know you got questions. Let's get right into it because I know we're limited on time, guys.
So, how'd you first get into pro wrestling?
I got into pro wrestling 25 years ago by, I used to play semi-pro football in the States, and I was at the football house with the rest of the football players, and we watched X-Pac versus, who was he fighting? Razor Ramon, and he won. And I just screamed at the TV. I said, if this guy could wrestle, I could wrestle. So my boys said, well, put your money where your mouth is. So I found a school in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. That's where I'm from. And I went to that school and I trained there for 6 months. I had my first match. And then I had an opportunity to, and the coach, his name was Mark Pilon. And he, at that time, was the coach of coaches. He coached all the top independent stars from Quebec. And after I had my first match, certain promoters started looking for me. And eventually I got myself at the New Japan Inoki Dojo. After I had a match with Finn Balor. Me and Finn had a match and they were impressed by both of us. And that's what helped further my career.
What was Inoki like as a coach?
Well, the coach at Inoki Dojo was Kendo Kashin. He was one of the top cruiserweights in Japan.
Awesome. And training at New Japan, what was the biggest thing that you learned? Like, what was the biggest thing that you came out with? Biggest piece of advice?
Well, the biggest piece of advice was, you had to have a commitment to excellence. I was in a class where it was the who's who's. Rocky Romero was there, Daniel Puder was there, Finn Balor, like I mentioned, a few other top guys that was wrestling in Mexico. So the thing that I had learned is that you have to challenge yourself. The training regimen there was crazy. You start off, you'd go to the gym to work out for a bit, and then class would start, and it would start off with some warm ups, 10 minutes of skip rope, and then after that, before you even did one wrestling move, you had to do 1,500 push-ups, 1,500 Hindu squats, 1,500 crunches, and just that alone, like, it pushed your body and your mind to be like, wow, I could do this. And if the elite athletes are doing this, you should be doing this. So I just learned that you got to persevere, you got to show 110%, and you really had to bust your ass there at the dojo.
And what's your so you had your first match against Finn Balor. What was he like as an opponent?
No, it wasn't my first match. I only met him like maybe 12 years into my career. But my first match with him, I had an opportunity to tour NWA UK Hammerlock. And I was in tag team action against him and another great wrestler from Ireland, Paul Tracy. So
Oh yeah,
so yeah, so for 2 weeks, for 1 week, we toured every day. That was the match. And I really enjoyed those guys, and then we kept on talking. And they had a sister promotion with NWA UK Hammerlock called NWA Ireland, and then they invited me, and I invited them. I had a promotion called NWA Quebec. NWA, I'm talking about the National Wrestling Alliance, and it's a conglomerate of different promotions under the NWA banner. Anyway, so we built a rapport, and then when I went back to UK for the second year of tourings, it was 2 weeks, and we were just fighting all the time. So by the time we went to the NWA 57th anniversary show, is a summit where all the promoters and champions from different promotions, they all went to Tennessee that year, and all the promoters had meetings and showcasing their talent. So we had a fight for the NWA British Commonwealth Championship, and he won it that night. And after that, the American representative of Inoki Dojo contacted us, and within a month, we were both there.
and we've got a question coming in from Darren White here who asks, "What was Japan like in general?"
It's cool. The culture is beautiful. It's respectful. It's clean, and for me, it was always a dream to go there. So I thought I was in Disneyland. You know what I mean? And it's just like I said. The one thing that you notice was there's always a commitment to excellence. Everybody there was always striving to be the very best, and you had to rise to the occasion, and you just had to be disciplined and respectful. But it was a beautiful place.
So I'm curious. You know, Japan's got that history of shoot matches. Have you ever had any over there?
No, but I got tested one time. One time I was in a match and I got a kick to the back of my head. And luckily I had a background in submission wrestling. And so I took the guy down and I put him in a leg lock and I asked him if we had an issue. And we didn't then. And then that was it. But most people
Yeah,
don't really try to test me. I have a background in boxing and submission wrestling, and
sure.
I conduct myself like a professional inside and outside the ring. So it doesn't really warrant that type of behavior. Somebody's saying, is it possible to move the phone out a bit? But can we see your face, please? I don't know why. I think my face is frozen.
Oh, there you
Is
go.
it?
Yeah, it's a little bit better now. Yeah,
Is it?
it's just your
Sorry.
connection's a little choppy, but we can still hear you good.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Starting out, what was the biggest challenges you faced?
Well, Finn Balor was one of them. I had an opportunity to fight Sabu. I thought that was crazy because once again, I was
Yeah,
a fan. I'm a fan of wrestling, so
Sure.
just to be in the ring with somebody that I enjoyed, like his feud with Taz in ECW was amazing. So just years later to be in the same ring with him was good. Um, I'm trying to figure out a few other people that I enjoyed. There was some locals here. Uh, Pat Gannett, he was a gentleman here that I feuded with. Uh, Guys, I'm doing the interview. Thank you. And I'm here at my school at the
Yep.
dojo, so the guys are still doing this stuff. But there was a couple of people. I fought King Kong Bundy. I fought Hockey Tonk Man. I fought Kevin Owens. Um, I fought quite a few people, man. Petey Williams from TNA. So they were all good matches. But Pat Gannett here locally, Paranoid Jake Matthews, who's another person here in Quebec that I had some good feuds. But internationally, yeah, I was able to wrestle a lot of people. I fought Sylvain Grenier, former WWE three-time champion, the Helms. So yeah, I was able to get in the ring with quite a few people.
yeah, and as you mentioned, there are Kevin Owens. I know you two were quite friendly, and you knew each other quite well. What was it like from seeing you and Kevin Owens? Obviously, would wrestle in independent shows, but maybe only have a couple of people in the crowd. The Kevin Owens wrestling in the main event of WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. I know that was always a aspiration of Kevin Owens's. What was it like seeing him achieve his goal?
It was amazing because a little known fact, he came to my school just to get ready to prepare for his WWE tryout at the time. So um, I've always known him from the beginning of his career. In fact, one of his nicknames is Mr. Wrestling, and I actually coined that. I was in a crowd watching him, and before I got to meet him, I was so impressed with him. I started screaming that out, and then the whole crowd chanted that, and then it stuck. Um, he was always an amazing talent, and he's a good person, and he's one of the most deserving people in the position that he is. He's worked hard. He traveled the independence. He believed in a dream where most people would quit or try to detract you from that, and he just held fast. And just to see the fruits of his labors manifested by being there. And Stone Cold he was a fan of Stone Cold. You know what I mean? And Stone Cold gave him some advice early in his career. He said, always keep talking. And he talked and wrestled his way to WrestleMania with Stone Cold. So I think that's like almost like a Cinderella storybook ending. And he has an opportunity and had an opportunity to be in one of the biggest promotions in the world with his best friend, Sami Zayn. So yeah, I'm just nothing but happy and proud. And what was cool about it at that time, he was the ROH World Champion, or just was, and he came to the basic class or beginners class, and he told us, hey, whatever they're doing, I'm going to do. So he did push-ups and sit-ups and crunches and all the drills that he could have perfected. But once again, I think you know it was about increasing his stamina, his durability, and he was coachable. So it was a blessing to have him.
And you and Kevin Owens, you went for a WWE tryout, didn't you? And you became a coach, obviously, in WWE. What was it like coaching there?
Oh, it was cool. Yeah, I had 6 opportunities for WWE tryouts. They saw something in me, and I just at the time, I don't think I was. You always think you're ready, but you're always learning and learning. So every time I had a tryout, I got better and better and better. And sadly, when they called me for another tryout, I didn't go, which was a regret. But what was good was I had an opportunity to be a guest coach at the WWE Performance Center, and that was fulfilling because you know you think you're a good coach, or you feel or you're a good coach, but then you want to know at what level. So it was like the equivalent, like just say, you know if I had to talk in North American standards, I'm a university football coach and I'm winning the Rose Bowl and all these big bowls. And now the Dallas Cowboys contact me and they say, "Hey, we want you to teach our guys." So I was up for the challenge, and it was pleasant, because at that center, uh, it's the best athletes, it's some of the best talent that's there, and they're just there to learn. So you don't have to convince them. You don't have to hope that they want to. They're coming there. They're committed. They're ready. So it was actually one of the best experiences of my life.
Yeah, and obviously with as we're talking about Kevin Owens, there, he always gets back up. And did you see his injury with Cody Rhodes when he got slammed through the ladder like that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was
I
mad,
saw
wasn't
that.
it?
It was, but you know what I mean. Like tables, uh, ladders, they're unforgiving. Like you can't practice it. It's not like I can take my guys at my dojo and say, "Okay, we're going to practice how to land safely on a ladder."
Right.
There's so many invariables; it just doesn't happen. So yeah, no, I was. And there's another thing: a lot of people is always perceiving pro wrestling to be fake or is not real or whatever the case is. But you can't defy gravity. If somebody jumps off the top rope and lands on you, yes, he's going to try to land safely, but you still have the weight of the world crashing in on you. And it's the same thing going through tables or just even body slams. Your
Yeah.
body
Regular moves.
has, yeah, has only a certain amount of bumps in them. And then after that, that's it. And I always try to teach my students here at the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo that you're always one bump or one break fall away from retirement. So really take your time and commit to what you have to do.
And how did Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling all start?
Well, originally I wanted to have a school, not even school, but a place for me to train at the time because there wasn't really a lot of schools or facilities. And there was a boxer, I believe his name was Ricky Haddon. He a boxer from England, and I was watching like a special as he was preparing to box somebody else. He had his own gym, and I'm like, that is crazy. So I looked around and I wanted to do that. And one of the promotions that I was at was about to set up a school, And my first school, it was always called the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling, but one of the original trainers was Lufisto. Lufisto is one of these hardcore vets that's been wrestling for the last 25 years. She's been all over the world. You know what I mean? She's like, she's amazing. Anyway, so we started off with her, but then her schedule started to get really busy. And then I decided, and it's been 21 years this year now, and I've trained like more than 1,000 students. I've been all over the world doing seminars, and it's a blessing. Like I'm here right now. It's a Sunday class. The advanced students are here, and they're all plying their trade and trying to be a better professional wrestler.
Yeah, and obviously with you training 1,000 students, that's something to obviously feel happy about to achieve something. So when someone comes away from your seminar, or someone comes to train at Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling, what's the piece of advice that you want them to leave knowing about?
Like I've been saying a lot of times, commitment to excellence. You can never be perfect, but if you're putting in the work, you're just going to better yourself. They say that if the sun gets 1% hotter, it'll scorch the earth. So some of the elements I try to leave is that there's teamwork. We can't survive without helping each other. Uh, the vibe at our school is not toxic. It's never been. I won't allow it. One of the other elements that I try to leave with the students or seminars is have fun. This is a tough job, especially at any level, from the independent to the professional. There's hours of traveling. There's a commitment into the gym. Your body's getting beat up constantly. So you might as well enjoy the journey. You may not get to where you want or what you perceive to be or to go, but enjoy the moment. Some of the best moments are the car rides traveling 8 hours to the destination, or hang out with the guys after you tear down the ring, or just practices and stuff like that. So I really tell people that if they're really serious, because I've had an opportunity to send a couple of people for trials for WWE, for AEW, for TNA, for New Japan, and people ask me all the time, what is the criteria? You got to be coachable. That's the most important thing. You could be the greatest talent. Talent will get you to the door, but character will get you inside. You got to be coachable, and you got to be committed. Like I said, it's a word that I use all the time. If you're not going to the gym, if you're not watching your diet, if you're not hanging out with other alphas or people better than you, how are you going to learn? They said there was a study when advanced or alpha students or trainees work with each other, they get 15% better. But if you hang with underachievers, you automatically go down to 30%. So I just try to let everybody know, hey, if you're here, don't waste your time, don't waste my time. Not everyone has an opportunity to become a pro wrestler. That being said, you know what I mean. Work hard.
And Keaton, I know we're short. We don't have much time left. I know you only had a few minutes with us, right, Drew? But
Yeah,
I want to bring us to this screen to talk about um, the fact that you'll be coming to Northern Ireland here very
yeah,
soon.
that's
And
right.
Keaton, do you want to explain like what we got coming up here at the
Yeah,
Malone Rugby Club?
yeah. So there's a lot of great matches lined up for the Mullen Rugby Club. DD Crooks versus Sage Valentine and matches like that. But we've also got Drew Onyx going up against one of NIPW's very best, the Ultimate Smick, Stevie Fee. What's it going to be
Yeah.
like wrestling with some of the newer generation with Stevie Fee?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. The whole idea of it, is to go international and fight this top people. And as soon as I heard the sensational Smick, I was like, okay, who is this guy? And I had an opportunity to watch some of his film, and he conducts himself as a practitioner of professional wrestling, and he's arrogant, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to be confident, and I'm looking forward to beat him up or get beaten. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to lose any fights. You know what I mean? I love competition. Somebody asked me what's my tagline. I got so many, but you know what I mean. Anytime somebody wrestles with me, this means war. So yeah, Mighty Molly, what's up? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So anybody in that area, I would advise you highly to do not miss that show. It's a great card, great talent. Uh, I know some of the trainers previously that worked there that trained these students. They have great coaches, and I've always had a love affair with Ireland. Period. This is going to be my 8th tour going down there, and I just can't wait to go to Northern Ireland again. I'm looking forward to it.
And from what I understand, limited seats are available now, Keaton, on this one. So there's not many left.
Yes.
So if you want to see this one, you're going to need to get tickets fast because they're probably going to sell out here fairly quick. And just looking at the picture there, Drew, very intimidating look. I think Stevie Fee is going to have his hands full here, if you want to ask me. I'm just saying.
You sound very wise, Crusher. You sound like a man of knowledge, yes. But like I said, he wouldn't be in the ring with me if he couldn't handle himself. And I only
Yeah.
want to fight the best. Doesn't matter their experience or the level. I'm looking forward to it. I have respect for him. But just because I have respect for Stevie V, Fee doesn't mean that I'm just going to let him, dance on my head and walk me throughout the ring.
It should be a great match. Now, you say you're coming to the island and stuff. Are you going to be doing anything else? Any seminars? Anything else while you're
Yeah.
there? Or?
Yeah. What I do is I like to go around the world and search for talent. I was just in North Carolina last year 2 weeks ago for the behalf of AIWF. That is a promotion or a banner of promotions working together collectively, and they have their own world champions, world shoot fighting champions, and all that and stuff. And when I was there, I did a seminar just before the two shows that I had to perform. And like I said, I'm always looking for talent, whether it's to send to WWE or whatever, or AEW or whatever the case is. In fact, I went to a seminar in Spain. I saw a gentleman that I thought was really amazing. He was like, his name was La Pulga Victor. I told him to come back to Canada, train with us. He was a champion for one of our promotions, and I got him an opportunity for an AEW tryout where he got on ROH TV. And he was from Spain. He wasn't affiliated with us at first. And like I just said, I just picked up two or three guys from Connecticut who I really liked, and I'm bringing him down to do some shows. So when I go to a seminar, I'm always looking for talent to either see if I can send them elsewhere because I'm a fan of wrestling. And if you're a coach, if you're going to recruit people just for the sake of recruiting, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a seminar. I believe the Friday before the show Saturday, and hopefully these guys will give 110%, and I'll bring somebody back to come and wrestle for us here in Canada.
Oh man, that'd be a wealth of knowledge for these guys for you to have a seminar with them. That's great that you're going to do that. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Every seminar I do, I do that.
Yeah.
And as we're coming to the end of the show, I just want to ask you one more question. So you were
Sure.
working with Dark Side of the Ring, weren't you?
That's correct. I've worked about 3 out of the 6 seasons. I did their first episode, The Killing of Bruiser Brody. I played Abdullah the Butcher.
Excellent episode. Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the characters. I wrestle as Drew Onyx, but I also wrestle as Soa Min, the son of Abdullah. So they contacted me. They knew about my work prior. Then I did Tales of the Territories, the one that was produced by Dwayne Johnson, and that was for Stampede Wrestling. And then Dark Side did a whole episode on Abdullah. So I went back. I almost was going to go this season because they're shooting the Sheik, but the scheduling changed at the last minute, so I didn't go in as Abdullah. But that's a great show, and I'm not saying it because I was on it. I marked out when I saw it. It was informative. The style of what they do, like at the time, it was foreign to me. Like when they told me, "Okay, we're going to do these hazy memory scenes," and I'm just in a room by myself, and I'm like, "What the hell?" But when I saw the finished product, I was floored.
It was good. And, Abdullah is a great, interesting character, and I had the luxury to meet him. And, he was such a vicious, I'm a mark as well. He's such a vicious character growing up, but such a nice guy when you meet him in person,
Yeah. Most wrestlers are, man. And we appreciate the fans, and we understand, it's an investment on the fans' parts, traveling, buying merchandise, buying the tickets, following us. So, it does nothing to give back.
And here's a quick question from Wrestling Insider. Will you be bringing Torture Chamber merch to Northern Ireland?
If they ask for it, I will bring it. Most definitely. Now that you said it, I'm going to bring some.
All right.
And what's next for Drew Onyx?
Okay, well, next few things that we're going to do. So, like, I run a promotion aside from the school. The school and the promotion are different. There's Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo. That's my school. We're always looking for talent. We have Sydney Eichmann, Sydney Akeem, who was signed to WWE, that was at our school previously. He's coming back to do a seminar for us next month. So I'm looking forward to that. We're also bringing down Japanese talent from a promotion called Heat Up in Japan, and we're going to do a seminar there with the same thought of picking maybe one or two of my students. Last year or the year before, I sent three of my students to AEW tryouts. I'm going to want to continue to do that again. And also for me, I'm wrestling full time again. I took a sabbatical, but I'm back, and I'll be in the States. I'm going to be heading to Spain, and the game plan is to actually wrestle for AIWF Africa in Nigeria in October. So these are things that we're trying to put together and try to get my name out there. Try to do some more seminars and wrestle all over and let people see the brand.
Sure.
Yeah, this has been so fascinating having you on.
Hey, listen, I enjoyed it. Thank you. Sorry, so short,
It's okay.
but let's do this again, and we could do a full, intensive, you know, a deep dive.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's been fascinating. Thanks so much for joining us. It was just
Yeah.
really, just even the little bit of time we had was just awesome to hear. So really appreciate it.
Definitely a pleasure. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling Dojo. It's in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, 21 years. I also want to give Northern Ireland Pro Wrestling Dojo a big shout out. Like I said, it's a promotion that I'm going to be there in April. And these guys are doing beautiful things. So if you're in that area, if you want to become a pro wrestler, inquire about it. They have some great coaches. Their trainees are top notch. And if you're in Northern Ireland, it pays. It makes sense to only go there.
And one thing we got here, Mighty Molly's wanting to know, can you give any kind of promo for Stevie Fee here? What's the message for Stevie Fee in this match coming up?
DDC, you need to understand that you will be in a pool of violence when I see you. It is important, it's impertinent for me to travel across the pond to meet you. I heard you're the best. I only want to beat the best. You're sensational. Well, I'm extraordinary. And when extraordinary meets sensational, it's going to be bombastic. It's going to be fantastical. It's going to be great. Do not miss it. All the people in Northern Ireland and Belfast, the Bajan Bomber is coming. Be prepared, Stevie. Be prepared.
There you have it, folks. Well, Keaton, fascinating interview. I know you
Very
got to
good.
get running here, Drew. It was great having you
Yeah,
on. Thanks again for
not a
joining
problem.
us.
Guys, keep what you're doing. This is the lifeblood of professional wrestling. Getting information out, letting people know. Guys, I will, now that I know that I've been on this podcast, I will follow you. Keaton, you rock. Crusher, you rock. Keep on doing what you stuff. Stay healthy. And hopefully I'll see both of you guys in person.
Sounds good, man. Thanks for
All right,
joining
God,
us.
not a problem. God bless.
Fascinating interview.
Yeah, very fascinating.
There we go. We're back. All right. Yeah, great
Yeah.
interview. And it was just incredible to learn all that. He's done a lot of things,
Yeah.
if you think about
New
it.
Japan, the WWE
Yeah.
tries, and then he's a stuntman as well, I believe, for Tale of the Territories, and he's done things like that. Makes sense.
I had no idea he worked with that stuff. And those are really good productions. Dark Side of the Ring and all the Tales of the Territory. I love all that. I mean, I watched every single episode of that stuff. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
cool stuff to be affiliated with, Obviously I like the Tales of the
And
Territory, Keaton, I'm a territory guy. So
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it was great. And then, this coming up with so you're still here. We're still hearing our audio feed here, guys. But let's see.
Mhm.
There we go. All right. Because it kind of distracts us when we're talking because we can still hear him. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And I love that promo. Wasn't that promo good at the end that he
Yeah,
did for
awesome.
us for Stevie Fee? Yeah, that was awesome stuff. Yeah, so that was good. And so this is all coming up. What is it, April 5th? If I got the date right? April 5th.
Yeah.
In fact, let's just go to that screen again. So April 5th at the Malone Rugby Club, 7 p.m. on this one, guys, because it's a Saturday. By the way, the reason we do it earlier on, like the one that we got with June 1st for the NWF is because it's a Sunday. So Sundays, they can't go later on the. Is what I understand from how it was explained. But this one's a Saturday, so it will be a later show. And then I heard he's doing a seminar at NIPW then as well. Did you
Yeah, he
hear
is.
that? So yeah, so that I mean that'll be great for the guys to be able to learn
Mhm.
from him and you know.
And then, as you see on the card, for the Commonwealth Championship, Canary Kid faces off Pablo for the Commonwealth Championship.
Yeah, he talked about it a bit. You know, he's right now he's trying not to think about Ben Nelson, even though he talked about Ben Nelson an awful lot. But he's trying to concentrate on this match coming up. Canary's prediction is he's going to have 2 belts on his shoulder, that belt and then the NWF belt after June.
Without a doubt.
Oh. And
Yeah,
then
this
he also says he's going to be the longest reigning NWF champ. He thinks he's going to beat my record.
How long did you hold it for?
I'd have to figure it out, but it was over a year on my
Mhm.
one streak.
And yeah, and the guy who decided who gets all the wins, who gets all the titles, and you decided to be the longest reigning champion. Absolutely, that's such an achievement, Crossen. Such an achievement.
Look, champions are earned, whether you're booking it or not. You earn the right to be the champion. You know, you have to be able to carry the promotion.
If it was the time,
And you're telling me Canary can carry the promotion? He can carry the NWF belt and that belt?
100%. You know, like if you look at the longest reigning champion, Crossen, and then if you look at the Canary Kid winning that championship, there's a big difference there. And if the Canary Kid comes to NWF champion, the NWF is going to get way more views, going to get way more publicity than
And
anything they ever have.
Canary has the, you know, the demeanor to say that the fact that I held the NWF belt kind of reduces its luster. How dare he say that about Crusher Crossen?
Is he wrong?
Let me remind you, Keaton, I influenced you first. So you can sit here and praise the bird all you want, but there's that.
Then you started disrespecting the Canary Kid. Now, I respected you a lot, but if the Canary Kid when the Canary Kid goes into the ring here, I sure think that you should be hoping that the Canary Kid wins this championship. If I were you, I'd be hoping that, because he's going to bring the NWF championship to new heights, to new levels, all because of the Canary Kid, and that is what's going to happen. You know, he's respectful, unlike Crusher Crossen. And you don't respect the Canary Kid. I see the talent and potential in the Canary Kid, unlike Crusher Crossen.
Let me tell you this much: the Canary Kid. Listen here, Canary Kid, buddy boy. You better be on your best behavior in that championship match when I'm reffing, because I will disqualify your rear end if you get out of line. So you know what? He kicked Ben in the knee. Well, I couldn't disqualify him for that. But I'll tell you this much. If he breaks any rules, I will ring that bell. So
of course you will, but if Ben Nelson, if Ben Nelson tries to get a metal plate, or if Ben Nelson gets a kendo stick, oh, I didn't see it. I was looking away. Yeah, so you wouldn't see it if he was looking away, but you would see it. You wouldn't see it if you were looking away, but if Canary Kid done it, you would see it straight away. So it's the difference between Ben Nelson and the Canary Kid. So you're supposed to be an impartial referee, and all you did is disrespecting the Canary Kid. An impartial referee wouldn't be saying all the smack talk about the Canary Kid. An impartial referee would be putting it down in the middle.
It's called bringing him down a peg or two. You know, he needs to be put in line a little bit. I'm the opinion. Speaking of which, TZS Videos is asking this. All due respect to Canary Kid, but why is he mentioned again? Exactly. I agree there with TZS Videos. Why are we talking about? We just had a great guest with Drew, and you're sitting there cheerleading for Canary again.
I aim to have Canary Kid talking about it on every single one of my shows. You know, I want monetization, and the Canary Kid is going to get me that if I talk about the Canary Kid. You know, if I talk about the Canary Kid every single show, more views are going to be coming in. And if the Canary Kid comes the NWF champion, yeah, you should be happy, because you're going to get so much more views. You know, when that book came out, that got you so much more publicity.
I got news for you. I hate to disappoint you, Keaton, but I got news for you. There's another person in that match, Ben Nelson, that wants that belt just as bad as Canary. And he has got just as much fire and desire to get that championship. You seem to be just brushing him under the rug here.
No, no. I really respect Ben Nelson. Ben Nelson's an incredible wrestler in the ring, but can he beat the Canary Kid? I don't think so.
And Officer Smiles seems to think the same. But you know what? And I can't give my opinion as much as I'd love to give my opinion. I'm the referee. I cannot give my opinion. I have to be impartial. You guys all try to trick me and bait me into saying something. But the fact of the matter is, I can't make an opinion on this because I have to referee it and call it down the middle. So
How are you supposed to be being impartial? If you're calling it down the middle, you're not. You shouldn't be smack talking about the Canary Kid. You shouldn't be saying all this bad stuff about him because he didn't do anything. And now you're saying, "Oh, Ben Nelson this, Ben Nelson that." You should be impartial referee. You shouldn't be disrespecting anybody. A referee like that should not be refereeing in this match, no matter if they're
me?
NWF, no matter what.
Me? You're talking about me?
Yeah,
You're
you.
referring to me?
Yes, you.
Smack talk? I don't smack talk. There's a difference between smack talk and telling it like it is. Sometimes you don't like to hear the truth. You're just like Canary, Keaton. You're just like Canary. You love it when you hear your name praised, but the minute somebody starts talking about you in a constructive way, you're the enemy. You know, but Canary, and then it's the rinse and repeat mentality with this guy. He learns his lesson the hard way. He has to get beat in the ring, and then he realizes that he bit off more than he can chew, just like he did with Nate Maddox. Remember?
I believe that the Canary Kid wanted that to happen because for about
Exactly. Hey, Keaton, I've been saying that show after show after show. He wants to get beat up. Yes, you're right. I don't know why. As Canary would say.
So that one time, yes, he wanted to get beat up, but I believe that that on that match, Canary Kid wanted to get beat up by Nate Maddox because he wanted his confidence, Nate Maddox's confidence to grow again. Because show after show after show, Canary
You
Kid
don't need somebody like Nate Maddox doesn't need to have somebody want his confidence built up. Nate Maddox has that confidence.
Yeah, well, the Canary Kid needs to be the NWF champion. Actually, no. Let me rephrase that. He doesn't need it. The NWF needs the Canary Kid to be the NWF champion.
So you say.
If he carries that belt, he's the only guy to carry the NXT Junior Heavyweight Championship outside of Europe. And if he can do that with the NXT Junior Heavyweight Championship, think about the heights he can bring to the NWF, not just from Europe, but to America, to everywhere. So if I were you, I'd be rooting for the Canary Kid to be winning this. But it seems opposite. It seems the other way. The Crusher Crossen does not want to see this.
And guys, this is what we're talking about if you're wondering. It's a ways away yet, but we still keep chattering about it. And you know, I gotta say, I'm very happy to see this happen. I'm really happy to see them fight for this belt because I don't know if you caught. Did you catch Rewind, Keaton, with Jamie McParland, Irish Terror?
Yeah, saw some of it.
So he said it best. This belt was kind of the first junior wrestling belt of junior wrestling belts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I can always safely say that. So to see this belt come back in the fold again in this situation with these guys, right? This is like a match made in, I would say heaven, but really in Northern Ireland. And that's what we have coming up here. So this would be really cool to see. And the most honorable thing for me is I get to be able to referee the match. That's just like, that makes my day. So I am so looking forward to this. I just hope Canary keeps his temper under control. You know, if Canary can keep his temper under control and he doesn't blow it, he might have a chance to get the belt, I'm saying. Just like Ben has a chance. Because Ben is, in my opinion, and I've said it many times, Ben is the best up-and-comer we got right now in NIPW as far as potential.
I'll admit, yeah, he has lots of potential, but the Canary Kid will always be the best up-and-comer. You know, when he carries this NWF belt, until he becomes an adult, he will carry that belt everywhere. That's why I'd be wanting that NWF belt on the Canary Kid's shoulders.
And I got to bring this comment in from your dad. He says, Crusher, that promo you created for this one was superb. Just goes to show you, talent like your dad is recognizes talent. And that is exactly what we got here. You know, the Canary likes to preach on his little chirping bird cage. He likes to say how he's so good and he's this, that, and the other. When it comes to video production, Crusher Crossen makes the promos. So Even you have to admit, Keaton, that was a kick-ass promo.
Oh, it was an incredible promo.
Yeah.
But would the impartial refereeing be just as good? Because I don't think you're going to be impartial at all.
Whoa. But where do you get that? Where's this coming from? I have said forever since this match was announced, I'm going to be impartial. I'm going to call it down the middle. You know that.
But everything you're saying, but it's always, oh, Ben Nelson this, Ben Nelson that, and then when you speak about the Canary Kid, all you're saying is bad stuff about him. If you're an impartial referee, you'd be calling it down the middle. No biasness, no nothing.
I think you're jealous of Ben Nelson. That's what I think's going on here. I think Wrestling Revolution Keaton wishes it was him in the match with Canary Kid for the NWF belt.
No, if I had any opponent in the world, I'd face them. But if it was the Canary Kid, I'd run away. And that's exactly why I would not want to be in this match.
Yep. See the brainwashing here, ladies and gentlemen? The brainwashing of Canary on Keaton that has just come full circle here and just exposed big time with that comment you just made there. Run from the Canary Kid. Boy, I don't know what kind of fear he's putting to you. I just don't know.
He's not putting any fear into me. I just know great talent when I see it. That's what the Canary Kid said last time. I know great talent when I see it, and I saw great talent. There's no bullying. There's all these conspiracy theories that come out. There's nothing. I just respect the Canary Kid all night. Crusher Crossen.
I respect the Canary Kid, but like I said, I know he has a little hot fuse as well, and I just hope he can keep it under control. That's all I'm saying.
What hot fuse?
But wait, before you go on to that, did you know? I don't know if you know this. Chase is here. He says, I think he knows you. He says, Keaton, are you going to this match?
Yeah, I'll be coming.
Yep. So yeah, you're going to go to that match.
Yes, glad you can make it.
And it says, Darren says, Keaton, will you be making a poster if Nelson wins, we riot? Yeah, didn't you do something like that last time trying to start controversy?
Yeah, it was if John wins, we riot. But I wasn't trying to start controversy. It's professional wrestling. You know, when I went to Clash of the Castle, it was if Roman wins, we riot. It's just you do that. If it's a heel, you boo them and you cheer the face. So if you're thinking I'm creating controversy,
so you think the guy that kicked Ben Nelson in the knee is kind of just a step above kicking somebody where you shouldn't be kicking them, and he kicks him in the knee, and you think that's an honorable guy that you think is deserving and should win the match and everything? Is that what you're saying? Something that almost, like, I hate to say it, but kind of cheats a little bit.
That is by the rules. You know, if Ben Nelson has
barely by the rules.
If Ben Nelson is vulnerable and he has maybe a vulnerable knee, Canary Kid is going to capitalize on that. He's an in-ring veteran. Outside the ring, him and Ben Nelson, very good friends. But inside the ring, Canary Kid does what it takes to be a professional wrestler, and that's why he's going to make it in the professional wrestling business. He saw the opportunity, he took the opportunity, and he injured the knee of Ben Nelson.
They were good friends, but I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you heard Ricky talking on Forward the other day, but he's like, he didn't even want to talk about Ben. I think the pressure of this match is starting to get to Canary Kid, and that's when all I'm saying is I hope Canary keeps his cool. I hope he can hold it together. That's all I'm saying.
Well, hopefully he does. You know, if he does or he doesn't, it's the Canary Kid. You know, in a match, if I was Ben Nelson, I'd be hoping he would be able to keep his cool, because if I was facing the Canary Kid,
and this is the same. This is Keaton. Just so you know, this is the same advice Wally Carbo gave Hulk Hogan with Nick Bockwinkel. If you can just keep your cool, you might be the next world champion. And Canary, he's no Hulk Hogan. Let's not make that comparison.
What?
But charisma-wise, you know, he's definitely got the charisma. But I'll say this, you know, if he can keep his cool, because he's got such a hot fuse and he always gets himself in trouble with that temper he has, that Irish temper. So...
You know, Hulk Hogan is a legend in the business, Hall of Famer, great professional wrestler, and you know, Canary Kid is only at the age of 17, and I think he's already surpassed Hulk Hogan, charisma wise, wrestling skill wise, he's done a lot.
Oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, you know, and the thing is, we'll just have to see. Now, who do you think's going to win between Canary Kid? Like, let's just kind of come off of this for a minute. Matter of fact, let me just take this off. let's go back to this screen. Who do you think's going to win here in this championship match? This Commonwealth Championship
Well,
between
this guy
Canary and
Pablo is an incredible wrestler. He's done very well for himself. And the Canary Kid also, NIPW's very best. The GOAT of NIPW, without a doubt, the OG BIRD. So it's going to be a very good match. All the ways if Canary Kid wins or he doesn't. Now, Canary Kid has a big match coming up against Ben Nelson. The pressure might go on the Canary Kid. Canary Kid might be under too much pressure and he might lose this match. But the Canary Kid's trying not to talk about Ben Nelson. And yeah, so that's something he needs to do. Just not talk
we
about
got
Ben
some other
Nelson.
matches here too, like NXT Junior Heavyweight Championship match, that dog collar match between Sage and Crooks. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, so first of all, with the pressure, if Canary Kid can keep his cool in that match and not get too nervous, I think he has a chance of winning. But I'm not sure. With the dog collar match for the NXT Junior Heavyweight Championship, Sage Valentine versus DD Crooks. I think this is going to go to Sage. New champion,
Crooks
I
is
think.
turning kind of a new leaf a little bit here. He's not like, he's kind of being respectful to a lot of guys now. It's kind of a new chapter for him in a way.
Yeah.
Then we have this tag match, Dead Gorgeous against Brandon Jenkins and a mystery partner. We don't know who that's going to be. Kind of interesting there. Like, who knows?
I have an idea. Maybe.
I know we talked about it earlier, but we'll see. But who knows? A mystery, I guess you could say, is going to be in that one. And of course, we talked about it this whole show. Stevie Fee against Drew Onyx, and just look at the look and the intimidation. That's an intimidating look with Onyx, don't you think?
Yeah, and then have Andy Roberts versus the head coach. Well, no, not the head coach. The coach of NIPW. Northern Irish Pro Wrestling legend Damien Corvin finally stepping into an NIPW ring.
Yep, I see that. Yep, that's a lot of big matches, and then Kellen Black against Frank. How do you say it? Is it Galo?
Yeah, I think so. Frank Galo.
So a lot of good matches here, and I know, again, guys, there's limited tickets left if it's not sold out already. So I would, if I were you, if you want to see this thing, I would definitely go to that website and get your tickets on this one.
There's only
with all
20%.
These names. What's that?
I know. There's only 20% of tickets remaining. And I would definitely be getting tickets here, and they're going to sell it quite quickly. We'll have the likes of Commonwealth Championship, getting to see the best wrestler in Northern Irish Pro Wrestling history, the Canary Kid, and then we'll have Andy Roberts versus Damien Corvin, a Northern Irish Pro Wrestling legend, Damien Corvin, Drew Onyx, former WWE head coach, as we just spoke about him there. He's very well experienced in wrestling, so I'd definitely be getting tickets for this show.
As a legendary Marty O'Neill used to say in the AWA, run, don't walk, to get those tickets for this one. Yes. Back in the day when you had to actually physically go get the tickets. But yeah, so yeah, you want to definitely get them for this one. And then, I don't know. We'll see when the next Dojo shows. The item hasn't been announced yet, I don't think. But, for that new Breakout series, that's coming up on the horizon, I'm sure, too. So, yeah, so lots of good things in the works. And, of course, we've already announced on June 1st at the Malone Rugby Club, that's going to be a couple cards away. We have the Canary Kid and Ben Nelson for the NWF belt, so that should be a good one. And, guys, by the way, the stream messed up today for some reason. It didn't go on the NWF channel, just went on yours. But I noticed I'm looking up there, and I don't see that the whole NWF YouTube link is gone. So I don't know if it just got accidentally deleted or what. So that's why it didn't go on the channel. So just FYI, everybody. And let's see. There's a couple comments. Darren says, so yeah, we just walked through the matches for scenic spots. So you see that. And then Darren said, DD versus Sage is the standout match for me. There's such hatred between these two now. I know. Remember, isn't it funny? When they were guests, Keaton, with us, they were like, oh, he's my best friend. I'm his best friend. We can, You'd think they're an inseparable bond, just like Canary talks about Next Level, him and John and his idol. But all of a sudden, something like this happens and it's split right down the middle. Same thing could happen to Canary, I'd say, too, with John McCann if he ever crosses John. So.
Well, that's never going to happen. That's such a good friendship. Going back from years when Canary Kid idolized John McCann. Now it's a bit different, and these two are the best tag team in Northern Ireland right now. Next Level.
By the way, Next Level, they got beat by who?
They were cheated by Dead Gorgeous.
How did they cheat? It looked like a legitimate 1-2-3 to me.
Well, everyone can make mistakes in pro wrestling, and John McCann's knee was sore, but Canary Kid needed him in the match. He's a strong man in the team, while Canary Kid's more athletic in the ring. So John McCann needed John McCann in the match, but John McCann's knee was too sore, and Canary Kid was fighting with him. Come on, get in the ring. John McCann wouldn't get in the ring, and while them two were talking, the roll up happened, and unfortunately, Dead Gorgeous took the win. But
let me tell you what I see. What I seen happen was Canary thought he'd get an upper hand and kick Ben in the knee, which upset John, caused them to argue about it, and then John's knee's not also feeling the best, and then Canary tags John in when John really shouldn't have been in, and then they keep arguing because Canary wouldn't shut his mouth, and then what happened was John got rolled up into the pin.
Well, it seems like you've seemed wrong. You've seen wrong.
And Canary blew it. It was the Canary Kid that blew it.
No, you're completely wrong, because Canary Kid wanted John McCann in the match. Even though if he was injured, John McCann should have fought through it. And Canary Kid was arguing with him, come on, fight through it, come on, get in the ring. And John McCann was angry at the Canary Kid for capitalizing. It wasn't against the law. He does what he needs to do in professional wrestling. He done what he needed to do, and he did it. He capitalized on the knee, and it wasn't cheating. It was nothing like that. He done what he needed to do, and John McCann wasn't happy with that. John McCann's knee wasn't the best, and John McCann still decided to argue with the Canary Kid over his knee being injured, and unfortunately, John McCann rolled up instead of capitalizing like the Canary Kid already done. He should have capitalized on the knee, injured the knee a bit more, but unfortunately, he didn't do that. If John McCann maybe has more heart than the Canary Kid, I would capitalize on what I need to capitalize on. Outside the ring, I completely agree. Have heart for your friends, but inside the ring, you're a fully different person, and the Canary Kid understands that. So that's my side of the story.
Because of Canary's foolishness in all of this, they are no longer undefeated tag team. They have been beaten, and now it's time to pick up the marbles and go home, because they didn't get the job done in the tag team match, and they now are not undefeated. He cannot boastfully say 6-0 because it didn't happen. So you put your tail between your legs and you go home and you recoup. Now, the question is, will this bother? My question with this card coming up here, is this going to haunt the Canary Kid now in this title match now that he messed this whole thing up? Is that going to affect him in this match?
Absolutely not, because it wasn't the Canary Kid's fault. He was capitalizing on Ben Nelson's knee. John McCann wouldn't do it. You have heart outside of the ring, but not inside the ring. You shouldn't have too much heart. What you should be doing is capitalizing on what you need to capitalize on. John McCann didn't do that, so Canary Kid knows that it's not his fault. It wasn't Canary Kid's fault that they're 5 and they're not 5-0. So it wasn't Canary Kid's fault, and
I beg to differ there, Keaton.
And if it was just Ben Nelson and the Canary Kid in that match, Canary Kid would capitalize on Ben Nelson, do the Canary Cutter, and take the win. And that is exactly what he's going to do. He'll capitalize and do what he needs to do in that ring and win the NWF belt and take it all around the world. And I'd be happy if I were you that is around his shoulders. He does what he needs to do in the ring. He's the only one that's been outside Europe for wrestling. He wrestled in Canada, and he can take that belt anywhere. So that's my opinion.
We'll see. But my opinion is this. John McCann, this isn't affecting John. He's already won a couple matches, I believe, now, just recently. He's doing pretty good, outside NIPW. So maybe he can. I don't think this is affecting his mentality.
No.
But for Canary Kid, yet to be determined. So, And also, Darren wants you to explain this. And then I also got one from Wrestling Insider, but Darren wants to say, tell us about when Damian Corvin surprised you at your house.
Yeah, so someone came knocking at the door, didn't know who it was, and it was a guy with a wrestling belt. And then I opened the door, and he was just standing there with his belt, the OTT Tag Team Championships. I was so surprised. I didn't know why he was at my door. He came in, and I was still shocked. My mum had no clue about this. Like, she was sitting there shocked while a big, like, near 7 foot wrestler was coming into our house, and no one had any clue about it. And yeah.
So that was pretty cool. A home visit, huh?
Yeah, he bring the OTT Tag Team Championship with him.
Yeah. And then Wrestling Insider, we talked about this a little bit. Why is the tag team partner missing with Jenkins? Who could this be? And I don't think don't jump to conclusions. Don't look at like the outline of the person and think that's who it is, because that could very well just be just some graphic they're using. So it's not necessarily that person that's ghosted out as the actual outline of the person. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So who knows who it's going to be? But a mystery. You know who might be? I don't see Nate Maddox on this anywhere.
That could be what it is.
Maybe it's Nate Maddox.
Thanks to the Canary Kid, Nate Maddox is getting back in the ring and back to his old self, because Canary Kid boosted him. He kept saying bad things, about his child and stuff, but he done what he needed to do. Again, he capitalized in pro wrestling, and he made his coach who he is now. He made his coach who he used to be before, the undefeated Nate Maddox. And if Nate Maddox has anything to do with this match, he's definitely going to win this match thanks to the Canary Kid. Him and Brandon Jenkins are going to stand tall against one of the best tag teams. I'll admit it, one of the best tag teams in Northern Ireland.
If I have to hear the Canary Kid come out of your mouth one more time, I'm going to puke in this garbage can underneath my desk. I am so sick and tired of hearing you cheerlead for the Canary Kid. I'm going to speak for Wrestling Revolution Keaton's channel on this one now. You need to start being impartial, because I think you're doing a disservice to Ben Nelson and Dead Gorgeous, for that matter.
No, I just admitted that they're one of the best tag teams in Northern Ireland. I think Ben Nelson is an incredible wrestler. But and even so, why would I need to be impartial? I'm not the one that's refereeing the match and hating and giving so much hate to the Canary Kid.
Boy, I can only imagine what has happened in those training sessions, even though the one was canceled this weekend. But Canary must be really just telling you better start continuing to keep talk good about me, otherwise it's going to be worse.
That's not what it is. I know, like the Canary Kid said, I know great talent when I see it, and the Canary Kid is great talent. The Canary Kid would never do that on me, and what he's doing is, if you see, like you said, he's going extra rough on me. He's trying to make me better in the ring, and that's exactly what a good coach does. So he's a great coach, great tag team partner, great wrestler, and your new Commonwealth and NWF champion.
Kind of putting the carriage before the horse, I would say. These matches haven't even took place yet.
Well, we always know what's going to happen when the Canary Kid's in a match. It always ends up.
So now, here's one thing too. Canary always boasts too, I'm the longest reigning champ. Isn't Crooks starting to get close to beating that reign?
Well, yeah, he's getting close, but it's actually nowhere near the Canary Kid's run.
I think it is.
He's the longest reigning NXT.
He's the longest reigning, yeah, but I think Crooks is getting very close to that right now. We'd have to do the math, but I would say he's getting pretty close.
Mm-hmm. And
Mighty Molly's asking a question for me. Sean, are you doing a seminar with the kids? What will you be focusing on? Yes, I will be doing a seminar at the kids class. And well, one thing I will double on probably. I mean, I've got some things in mind, some, easier kind of moves that we can look at, but the drop kick, Keaton, you tell me they kind of struggle with. So I'm thinking the drop kick might be something we might want to look at. Kind of going how I would train on it, how I used to show people how to do it, my way of doing it. And then we'll see what comes of that. Like when you guys practice a drop kick, are you practicing it with each other? Like you're drop kicking each other?
We would use like a punching
the
pad thing. Yeah, pad.
Oh, you have like a pad thing. Yeah, because you don't want to be afraid to kick. So that's why you want to have something you're kicking that's you can kick it and it's not gonna matter. The thing with the drop kick, when you learn the drop kick, drop kick is two things. It's the kick and it's getting the jump.
Yeah,
So
the
it's the
jump's the
jump and the
hardest.
kick. Right. And the jump though is what you need to learn first. The kick you can then concentrate once you get the jump down. But if you can't get the jump down, the kick doesn't matter. So you need to really work on getting the jump. And so that's probably what I would probably look at you guys, see where you're at, and then I would make an evaluation from there to see what, how to go about it. But there's ways, I don't know if you guys use the ring to spring with, you can always use the ring to get the extra bounce to get the height. There's a technique of doing it that way. There's all sorts of ways to get your height up if you can't physically naturally do it. So those are the kind of things we'll look at. But because the ring has bounce, right? So you can use that to your advantage to get your jump, right? So yeah. And then I got some other moves we'll probably look at, some easier stuff. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun little seminar, and then I'll do a little bit of talking too, and kind of the mental side of things to stay motivated.
Yeah.
Kind of my story and my book and everything. And I'll bring books and T-shirts and DVDs for all the kids. So, I mean, you already got it all, Keaton.
Yeah.
But,
it's fascinating.
But yeah, so yeah, it'll be a fun time. I'm looking forward to that.
Very excited for that as well. And while you're over for that,
it'll be the only time I get to get my hands on Ricky too. So, while I'm helping you guys, I can use him as my practice dummy, I guess you could say.
And while you're over for that seminar, you can finally see that the Canary Kid is not bullying me. He's just going extra rough on me, so I can be the best version of myself. And you can video with that. You can check to see what's happening, and you'll finally understand that I'm not saying good things about the Canary Kid because I'm worried in case he bullies me. I'm saying good things about the Canary Kid because I know he's the best wrestler in Northern Ireland. I see the potential.
And Mighty Molly thinks that Canary's going to throw me around in that ring. So we'll see about that. I'd like to see that, but yeah, no, Crusher Crossen. Like I told Canary in this title match, if you push me, I'm going to push you back. You don't mess with the ref. So you have to establish law and order as an official and a referee.
Yeah, well,
you don't let the inmates run the asylum, as I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, I guess that Crusher Crossen needs to learn the law and order. Being an impartial referee is something that's clearly going to be shown in this match. If you were not impartial, you wouldn't be saying bad stuff about the Canary Kid. You wouldn't be, oh, Ben Nelson this, oh, Ben Nelson that. It would be straight down the middle, like I already said, and it's not been like that. So I worry for this match. If Ben Nelson hits him with a chair, hits him with anything, you won't see it. If Canary Kid even punches him or anything, you will see it, and that's the thing.
No
I
closed
think
fists.
For no reason.
No closed fists. Open end slaps, okay, but no closed fists. And Canary loves to do the closed fist. So we'll see. God, I'd hate to have to disqualify Canary over something silly like that.
I don't think you would. But if I were you,
I probably, I'll give you an example, Keaton. American football, Super Bowl. Referees tend to let a lot of things go when it's a big match. So, that would normally be called. So, and I will, probably have the same mentality. But that doesn't mean Canary can get away with breaking rules.
For Ben Nelson, yeah, you'll have the same mentality. For the Canary Kid, for the Canary Kid, you'll have the same mentality. For Ben Nelson, you will not, because you're gonna let him away with murder. For the Canary Kid, you're not. If he even, like you said, no closed fists. If he even maybe does a fist into the corner, you'll disqualify him. Whereas Ben Nelson, if he hits him with a chair, oh, I didn't see it. Everyone's looking around the other way.
Well, I mean, if I don't see it, I don't see it. I mean, there's all, I can't help that. I mean, you're jumping to all sorts of conclusions here. Wrestling Insider wants to know if I have a referee jersey, and I do. I have an NWF referee shirt that's got the NWF patches, so I'll wear that. And then TZS Videos wants to know: is there a tag team belt at NIPW? And we've been talking about that for a long time. Is there? I know that the guys have made cardboard belts at one point and came out and unofficially, but there's nothing official yet, right, Keaton?
Yeah, well, I think it will be coming down at the pipeline. Have some great tag teams such as Dead
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And then there can be loads of great tag teams coming through as well. There's loads of good guys coming through. There can be a tag team. We'll have Dead Sexy, and then obviously Next Level. So they have some great tag teams coming through, and the competition for that then belts would be amazing to see.
I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering if Next Level's still even a thing. I mean, John was pretty upset.
John was upset because the Canary Kid capitalized, and John, but the Canary Kid was upset.
And you don't want to
John.
upset John the Man McCann.
I don't know what you mean, because when the Canary Kid was arguing with John, get in the ring, and John was sad because the Canary Kid capitalized on what he needed to capitalize on, and John McCann did not want him to capitalize. That doesn't make sense, because that's what you got to do in pro wrestling. You capitalize on your opponent if you see him injured. You fight to win.
And if you upset John,
McCann,
remember John is like up here, and Canary's like here. As far as like John is amazingly good. And
John is amazingly good as well. But
John would twist Canary into a pretzel, just like he did in all those title matches.
Yes, John McCann.
Yeah.
Yes, John McCann is very strong. I'll admit it, and he's an incredible wrestler in the ring. But he could not squish the Canary Kid. Nobody can stop the Canary Kid. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've been at every single NIPW show, and you cannot stop this guy.
I think you need to borrow these glasses, Keith, if you've seen it with your own eyes. But I don't know, guys. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up next, Keaton, as we get to the end of our show, right? I know we butchered Canary a lot here and match and everything, and I'm sure people want to know what is coming up next, right? Get this comment out of here.
Screen?
Yeah, the what's next screen. So this is what's coming up on our next shows over on NWF Studio Taping 75. This is a show we should have watched last week, but I switched it around because Jamie was with me, and I wanted to show that Jamie was on Irish Terror. By the way, did you hear my question with Jamie? I said that fans want to know over there, do you have any Irish in your blood? And he said he does. I don't know if you caught that. Yep, 25% Irish. So that's his McParlin side. So yeah, Scandinavian, I think he said too, and German. So, but yeah, so but anyways, Studio Taping 75. Dixie Dave will be with me, and Canary's turned him into now a disrespectful schmuck, and I have to deal with Dixie Dave now as a disrespectful schmuck. There's that.
If you said you were talking about how you've held that championship for over a year, if you're talking about your shoot title matches as well, if Dixie Dave got you, this is why you've never faced each other. If Dixie Dave got you in a shoot title match, you'd be down. And if it was your first title defense, that you would not go well against Dixie Dave, the greatest NWF wrestler of all time.
Dixie Dave is fortunate to even have won the national tag title. He would never, ever even come close to winning the NWF world title. Not even a little bit.
Nonsense.
So I don't know. I know you're a big fan of Dixie Dave. I know you always have been, so it doesn't surprise me hearing this from you. But by the way, this picture here, that's me and Thandar in the ring. I got the hammer lock on him there. But this guy, Keaton, Jim Holland, Thandar, roughest, toughest customer in our league. Temper on him as well. like for real. He was rough and tough. He gives in this match. He was kind of a Road Warrior style. He liked to do the flying shoulder, and he gives me a flying shoulder, and I went flying halfway across the ring. I didn't sell it. I didn't act. I just got knocked halfway across the ring. So yeah, when you have a match with him, it was always a rough match just because that was his style, and he expected it as well. So it's one of these guys that you had to be rough with as well. It's kind of like a Japan match, really, with Vandar. But yeah, it was the match itself. Like if we just would have worked together better, it would have been a more entertaining match. But our egos were fighting each other in the ring as well, and but I had people I know watch this match that back in the day that had told me that weren't on the show, but they were friends, and they said, "Yeah, we watched that match. It was so entertaining." Like they were really into the match. I'm thinking, man, it could have been so much better though.
Yeah.
If we just would have worked properly. But sometimes you get in the ring with guys like this guy, and you're in kind of for a fight almost, and you just got to be able to stand toe to toe, even though I was super outmatched. So that interesting match. Now on your next show is March 30th. It looks like, right? Is that what we got here?
Yeah.
Want to talk about this one?
So
Kayfabe with Keaton.
we were supposed to be getting this. We were supposed to be getting this guy on for Diabetes Month. He's a diabetic, type 1 diabetic pro wrestler. And also he's obviously part of Titanic Wrestling. Part of their roster, been in it for a few years now. Been wrestling for a while, and he's in a tag team with Lucas Lloyd Bar called the Bar Merger, the longest reigning Titanic tag team champions of all time. Has a good Northern Irish gimmick. He's a great wrestler in the ring. It'll be great to be having him on as well.
And I thought you had the Patterson interview happening Tuesday as well this week. Is that right?
Yeah, but we were supposed to be having that happening, but we're going to just change it to another day, another Sunday.
Oh, so it's not going to be Tuesday.
No, we'll be
Okay.
we'll be getting them on.
All right, because that was the last I heard from your dad, so I wasn't sure if that changed. All right, so this is the next show then, March 30th. And that's in 2 weeks from today, guys. So, yeah. And then, of course, Dave and I this coming Thursday for Rewind. And another thing with this show, this was the first taping we did with the brand new professional wrestling ring we got. So we're all like, it was so, I can't tell you how exciting it was to go finally into an actual wrestling ring after all these rings we built ourselves for many, many years at this point now of the show. And we finally get an actual working ring. That was
it must have been
so fun. Yes, it was like the confidence level with everybody went up because once you got in the ring and you felt that natural bounce, like you know how it is in those rings. You've been in there enough training yourself.
Yeah.
And you start feeling that and it brings your confidence up. Because before that, we were always used to just stiff, hard ass rings that had no give. So
yeah,
that was really cool. And the only thing is with a lot of the little kids, when this is not like a kid ring. This was an actual professional wrestling ring, and so when they'd hit the ropes, their heads would be at the height of the top rope a lot of times. So they really couldn't hit the ropes, good, but because they're just too small.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that problem when you're hitting the ropes?
I don't know. I used to, but now I can hit the top rope, fine this time.
Do you go into the side? Do you hit it with the side, or do you go in with your back?
I would hit it with the side.
So you kind of go into the side. You lean into it then with your one arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's two ways to do it.
So I would run and then just turn and then turn into the side.
Yeah, a lot of people do the side. I like to go in with my back.
Right.
I always like the back. Jamie and I were talking about this because when we had we got cableized ropes eventually with the cable and the tubing, and the idiots that did this, Larry and them, they didn't get the hard plastic tubing. They got the rubber tubing. So what happens is when you hit them, the rubber stretches. And so they hit them, and the rubber would stretch, and then when you come off, it would come back, and it would pinch your back. And Jamie got pinched all the time, and he hated it. See, if they would have gotten the hard plastic tubing, that would have never happened. Like if you think back to the old NWA TBS shows, and you always hear the ropes clinging in those tubes, that's hard plastic tubing, right? So that's how it should be. But Larry, the infamous brainchild that he was, probably wanted to save a couple bucks and got the rubber tubing instead. And yeah, that's why they don't use rubber tubing for that kind of thing. So we were talking about padding too on our last show on Forward and on ring mat padding and how, some of these rings, the padding's horrible.
Mhm.
When we first got this ring, it was fiberglass padding, so it was just super thin, and it really didn't have any cushion. It was made out of fiberglass, and it was just a membrane that kind of gave you a step above plywood. And so it was always, the ring had enough bounce though where it wasn't so bad, but it wasn't the best. And I remember when I went to a WWF house show at the time, and I'm always curious of the rings. So I was down there at ringside before the show started. I'm looking close at the ring. And these days we could get right up to it and touch it. And I kind of peeled the canvas up to look. Their padding was, and I'm not kidding you, was this thick. It was like almost 2 inches thick of padding. So they had really thick padding, almost like wrestling mat padding, almost super thick. And it was layers. I remember it was white, and you could see it like it was a couple layers of this, like a kind of like a foam padding. So yeah, so that must have been really nice bumping in that ring. So, but that was like a big time promotion like the WWF. That's what their guys would get compared to all of us indie guys. So yeah, so interesting stuff. Mighty Molly's asking about this. How on earth can Stevie Fee even reach Drew Onyx? I mean, yeah, he looks like a monster, Drew does, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's going to be a very hard match for the Ultimate Smick, but the Ultimate Smick always finds a way. He's been the one, from being put with high obstacles in his way, and you never know, he could beat Drew Onyx. It's going to be very hard for him to do it. This match can go anyway.
Yeah, that's it was pretty cool. Like I said, if you didn't catch that, watch the replay on this and see that it was about what 25-30 minutes with him.
Yeah.
With the interview, so that was pretty good. And Mighty Molly, as we're getting to the end here, guys, Mighty Molly says, was it Wrestling with Regret you were watching earlier, Keaton?
Yeah, I was watching that earlier, so I taped it up because I remember watching it before. It was awesome. He's very funny.
Yeah, Brian Zane. We had him on a Rewind show as well. He came on with us, and I imagine he's really taken off now. He's getting real busy working with the indie leagues out there, and
he's a wrestler now as well.
Yeah, he started managing in the beginning, and now he's probably wrestling as well. But he had told us when he came on Rewind, he said, he felt he owed it to us to come on, so he wanted to. Yeah.
Well, the business.
But and like he says now, he goes, now I'd probably look at it a lot differently than what he did back in the day. And I think that whole mentality's kind of changed. There was a time when the guys, in the 20 years ago and stuff, they were being more. I used to always call them purists. They just because the backyard wrestling gave such a negative vibe to everything from the 90s
definitely.
that everybody was very, very cautious in how they would talk about things. Where now today, people are a little more openly, is what Brian was trying to say. He looks at things a little differently. So it's a very interesting conversation. So it's real funny though. I've always talked about this with backyard wrestling. When we did our show back in the day, nobody thought of that. We didn't think of it. We didn't consider ourselves that. No, that word didn't exist. And like guys like Eddie Sharkey and that, they didn't look at us like that either. Eddie looked at us as opportunity. He just wanted part of our attraction.
It was very different, obviously.
Yeah, it was just a different thing, but nobody. And then all the press and newspaper articles and everything was all positive. It was all like, look at what these kids are doing. This is amazing. That was their outlook. Where now, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and with the backyard wrestling, it was very different. For you guys, it was a very positive thing. Kids are getting into good stuff, and then with the backyard wrestling, it was injury after injury. People going off top of roofs, kids going off the top of roofs. It was just so different at the time. And
yeah, in fact,
from what you guys done. title.
like you just said, fast forward 10 years to backyard wrestling, and it's a whole different mentality. But remember, though, we've talked about this before with backyard wrestling. They had a whole different attitude. Like they were trying to inflict pain with one another. That was their that 90s hardcore backyard style. It was all about, how much pain can we endure to make us stand out. It was almost like sensationalism, individual sensationalism. Where
Yeah.
when we were doing our thing 10 years earlier, it wasn't about that. It was about the art of wrestling itself. Let's do exactly what they're doing on television so we can do it the same way as much best we can. We were just trying to be them at a kid level.
Yeah.
So, that's that. We had a whole different, and that's why, people always can't believe when I tell them that, I can count maybe 3 or 4 injuries in one hand through the course of the whole show that we ever did.
And that's and every match that they had, there's injury after injury.
Injury,
And that's not what wrestling's about.
Right. And
That's
they
not
think
what
that,
wrestling's about.
and it's not. And they think that, but they think it is. They think this is what's going to get me known. This is what's going to make a name for myself. No, the idea is to make it look like I hurt you, but I never did. That's the art of wrestling. It's the illusion. It's almost like a magician taking a rabbit out of his hat,
Yeah.
That's a trick. And so to be good at wrestling, you got to be good at the tricks.
Exactly. And I suppose did they get their names well known, but just not in a good way?
Yeah, I mean, and they would, and they'd have, and for a while there, I know I had to kind of back away from this because some of these backyard leagues were they were coming up with these backyard Hall of Fames, and they were trying to put us into that as part of the first backyarders. And I always shied away from that because I never wanted to be associated with that,
Yeah.
So, what is Darren saying here? Well, before we sign off, he says, "You will love Howard Wolf." Oh, is that the guy that's coming up?
Yeah, Harland Wolf.
Harland Wolf. He gets so hyped up at his matches. A really nice guy too. Yeah, so that's going to be the next guest. So that should be great. Well, guys, we've been going about an hour and a half now, so it's about time we log off. But hope you enjoyed the show. It was a great interview, and be back in 2 weeks with Keaton for this next one. And of course, catch me and Dave on Thursday on our NWF channel. Hopefully we'll get this stuff worked out again. We'll get both YouTube channels up here again.
Yeah, I wonder what was going on then.
It just looks like it got deleted by mistake or something. We'll have to talk to your dad, find out what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, we'll get it worked out. And then that's an easy fix. But yeah, we got to keep this in mind with Androids. In fact, I would say with all our future guests, let's try to encourage them not to use Androids. We'd be doing ourselves favors if we did that.
Yeah.
Because iPhone seems to work fine, and laptops and everything works good, and computers. So yeah. All right. So for Wrestling Revolution Keaton, and I'm Crusher Crossen, 5-time NWF champ, longest reigning NWF champ. I can say that. And
only for a while.
And we got the wannabe champs coming up here, either Ben or Canarian. Which one's going to get it? We'll see.
We know.
All right. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks with Keaton. And catch us next week on NWF for me and Dave for the Rewind show. It'd be fun. All right, guys. Catch you later.